Guillermo El Chico Rigondeaux responds to Bob Arum's claims that he's full of shit and he's running from Vasyl Lomachenko. Stay tuned. Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. 1. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button, also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. You want to become part of the notification gang, hit that bell icon. Now, it's the 4th of July. If you celebrate it, if you're in America, or you just like the holiday, happy 4th of July to you. Now, this is a response video to a previous reaction video. My dude Hoop Jab interviewed Bob Arum. Bob Arum says, basically, when negotiations get real, Rigondeaux's running. He doesn't want to fight Lomachenko, and he keeps coming up with excuses. And he says, I quote, Rigondeaux is full of shit, right? So I made my response video, and I cited Hoop Jab's initial interview that triggered everything. And I've seen a lot of people talking about that. A lot of people commented on my video, and Rigondeaux has responded. So he released his reply. This is his verified Twitter account, so you know it's coming from either him. A lot of people say, oh, but he doesn't speak English. But this is social media. When you have a verified account, the reason it's being verified is so you know it's not just a fan page that someone created. So either it's him directly, or maybe he's working with a translator or a Google Translate app. I don't know, but you guys can't do that. You can't. If you have a verified account, I'm just gonna take it for what it's worth, unless it's something crazy that's saying you've been hacked. You know what I'm saying? But the whole purpose of it being a verified account, Conor McGregor or whoever's account, is so you know that this is their official page. So it's either coming from them or their PR people or their handlers or whatever, right? Different people. Some people like to engage on social media. Some people let their teams or Premier Boxing Champs or Rock Nation do it. But I'm pretty sure this is either Rigondeaux or someone really directly close. You can hear by what they say. So Rigondeaux responded. I just had to clear that up because a lot of people make all these excuses. How do we know Rigondeaux doesn't speak English? Rigondeaux says, 4 days ago, Top Rank, and then he mentioned their handle, contacted me privately asking for my number. I gave them my manager, Alex Bournotte. They never called. Who's full of shit? So he's saying, Rigondeaux is claiming that I called them. Or they called me, actually, and I gave them my manager's number if they want to talk, and he's a representative of me, and he want to handle business, and they never call. Then he shows the one reason the fight is not made. Nonito, experience on my corner. I have Pedro Diaz again. They know better. Hashtag not afraid. And what he's referring to is Donaire was a cash cow, not only for Top Rank, but for HBO. He was the man. He was exciting. I'm from the Bay Area. Nonito Donaire's from the Bay Area, so I watched his whole career blossom. You know what I mean? I'm talking about back when he was fighting a pro. I'm from the 707, right? And I'm talking about when he was fighting as a pro in Vallejo, in the 707. You know what I mean? But y'all, that's before Top Rank and all that. But anyway, Rigondeaux pretty much smoked Donaire, and we seen the end result. It was looking bad for him in that 12th round, but it was a masterclass performance. After that point, it's a shame what top level promoters and networks did. They just threw Rigondeaux on the bus. Oh, he's boring, and HBO they want to throw up when I mentioned Rigondeaux. Boxing was never about this, you know what I mean? Like, that's like saying, oh, but Mike Tyson, he does this in his personal life, or he has a pet tiger. Like, none of that stuff matters. Can Tyson fight? Do people want to see Tyson fight Lennox Lewis? Okay, cool. All that extra stuff, he's boring. It doesn't matter. He's considered one of the best. You even have people like Andre Ward, who named Rigondeaux the #1 pound for pound, and a lot of people say Ward's #1 pound for pound. So real recognizes real, and it's funny to me that I talk to fighters, even fighters that don't really fight like or not like Rigondeaux, and people pay homage, people who actually lace them up and know boxing because they are fighters, like my dude Saul Neno Rodriguez. He's an action fighter that signed with Mayweather Promotion. He used to be with Top Rank, and he says Rigondeaux is one of his favorites to watch, because although their styles are contrasting, he learns from Rigondeaux. You know what I'm saying? So all this farce about Rigondeaux so boring and he sucks and he can't sell. I was at his last fight, Rock Nation, and it was in Vegas, and he had a cool reception. The weigh-in itself for the Ward Kovalev 2, it wasn't super packed, but Rigondeaux had a good reception in the main event. Those were the loudest two things, Ward Kovalev and Rigondeaux, right? And Rigondeaux says, "This is my one and only official Twitter account, so there's no more speculation. I publicly accepted moving up to 130 pounds when Igis Klimas, who's Vasyl Lomachenko's manager, asked me to do so. This is a fact." And according to Rigondeaux, he says that he never got a call, and he gave them what they wanted, Top Rank, which was his number or his contact information. And then this is where Hoop Jab's interview, where he's quoting the full of shit what Bob Arum says, and he says, "Call me." He says, "Salido, oh my God, Bob, call me." And see, this is another thing, like just being very transparent and honest is, it makes it hard or harder to believe what Bob Arum is saying here in this interview, because I know he has publicly shitted on Rigondeaux. And what I mean by shitted, like above and beyond, like even when he was promoting Rigondeaux, I don't feel like he really gave him a fair shake. You know what I mean? Going in publicly, a fighter you represent, saying, "HBO, every time I mention the name Guillermo Rigondeaux, they want to throw up." Like, who does that? Because as a promoter, it's your job to get them work, you know what I mean? Get them fights. That's how I look at it. No different than, let's say, if you're an actor or an actress, your agent, his job is to place you in front of directors or set up meetings or casting calls to get you the opportunity. He's not there to judge. If he's representing you, not really there to judge if you're Robert De Niro, Denzel Washington, if your acting chops are up there. He's representing you, so he's trying to get you gigs, even if you're not the best actor or whatever else. But only in boxing do people come up with these excuses, for all these excuses on why the best shouldn't fight the best. And Rigondeaux is putting a lot of pressure on the situation, so we're going to keep discussing this and see what happens and transpires. Just posted my latest edition of the comic book, Loma Ducked Rigo, on Instagram. You know what I mean? He's relentless. He's really on his Cannon Briggs. Happy 4th of July, everyone. Are you telling me that a fight, Mariaga versus Lomachenko, is going to make more money than versus my uncle Rigondeaux, Loma Duck Rigo, right? They're making comics and memes, and that's a very good point. All the walls are closing in with fake things and falsehoods. You got to start telling the truth. And the walls are closing in because a lot of the casual fans, what they do is they come up with all these like lies and falsehoods about why the fight shouldn't get made and why it didn't get made. First of all, a lot of you guys aren't in boxing gyms. You're not at the media days when I'm there. You're not covering the sport of boxing, and you really don't have any inside intel, period. You know what I mean? So that's one thing. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, but Rigondeaux, he rejected this amount." You don't really know. You really know your information based on websites and other reporters on YouTube or wherever you get your source from, but it's not you directly. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes as covering boxing, you hear about these things before they come to the forefront. And the walls are closing in with the different level excuses. 2017, a phenomenal year, and the best should be fighting the best. And a lot of people say, "Oh, but it's just memes." And I seen Lomachenko, he put something that says Loma does his talking with his hands, but he made a meme talking about Tank Davis and calling him out and all these other people. And then the meme where he's talking about Loma does his dirty work with his hands and not on Twitter, you're posting a meme to illustrate that, so it doesn't even make sense. Lomachenko is a quality fighter, but you got a guy who's basically Cannon Briggsing you right now. Loma Ducked Rigo comic book on this edition of Ring Magazine, learning to duck at Klimas University with Vasyl Lomachenko, so damn good. And then they really took the time and made this comic. The Loma Ducked Rigo tune. At Klimas Academy, we will teach you how to duck like a pro. For the record, I was never a good student, so you know. Wow, you got Kovalev. It's true. You never listened to me. I kept telling you, don't fight Ward. What about me, Papa Igis? And it's Lomachenko. And he says, "Oh, son, you have been an excellent student. You learned to duck high-tech style like no other. Da Papa, da, to be continued." You know what I mean? And now it's getting to a point where, presented by hashtag not afraid, now it's getting to like 50 Cent said, you gotta do something, baby. Like, you can't just let this man with 130,000 people be on your neck like this and just keep. Look, I mean, look at it. He's going hard. We used to be the best cherry pickers in the country. That wasn't until Loma showed up with his high-tech gear and put us out of a job. And it's two people, random people, picking cherries. My name is Lomachenko, and I approve this message. Loma duck Rigo. Like, they're going hard. Shout out to Boxing Cubano or whoever's making these comics with them. High-tech, definition, adjective, employing, requiring, or avoiding, or involved in the act of cherry picking. Just saying. You know what I mean? Like, now it's getting like real deep and real personal. You know what I mean? And like I said, Lomachenko's a good fighter. He might beat Rigondeaux. We don't know. Let's see it. That's really what it is. I want to see it. I don't care who wins. Look, cherries. Lomachenko's saying happy 4th of July and people putting cherries. Let's see a picture of him, I'm sure. Fight Rigondeaux. Stop ducking Rigo. Cherries, chicken. Loma's a pussy. I mean, you can't allow this. Baby bottles, cherries. They're going ham. So it's like, you can't, look, Cuban flags, cherries, chicken shit, emojis. Rigo, stop. Hope you fight Rigo. So I'm telling you, the walls are closing in. Look, like, everyone's blames. That's what people try to do in boxing. They try to blame the messenger. Oh, Ego, you just hate Vasil Lomachenko because you're racist. But I'm not the one putting this. I used to like you until you became a little bitch. Give the man the fight. Fight Rigondeaux. All you are at the moment a high-tech cherry picker. If you're the best, prove it. That's not me. I'm not putting this. I didn't tell people to do this. You know what I'm saying? So I showed you what Bob Arum said, and I showed you what Rigondeaux said. And if Lomachenko wants to interview or if he makes a response, I'll tell you what he said. But look, look like Rigondeaux can only talk but nothing more. What did Rigondeaux do to get a fight against Lomachenko? See, more. This is what I'm talking about. The walls are closing in. Look at this comment right here, and you can say that. And this is how I know you guys don't think of your excuse and all the details before. You're like, you ever watch those shows, The Dumbest Criminals, where they do something, they go into a convenience store with no mask, or they have a mask and they put it on backwards or something stupid and they end up getting caught. That's what some of you casuals do with these excuses. You don't think it through, because like this comment, look like Rigondeaux can only talk but nothing more. Rigondeaux was claiming he was contacted. They asked for his number. He gave him the manager number, and then they never called. And more importantly, what did Rigo do to get the fight against Lomachenko? Lomachenko has 9 fights. What are you talking about? He only has 9 fights. What did he do? I mean, Lomachenko still has things to prove. Everybody else who's considered pound for pound has 19 or so fights, except for Rigondeaux. You know what I mean? Rigondeaux, I don't know how many he has, 15, 16 or whatever. And that's because they stayed amateurs and they're 2-time gold medalists and stuff like that. But most other guys, Terrence Crawford, Andre Ward, Canelo, Golovkin, anyone you want to put, Keith Thurman, they all have a lot more fights. But since these guys stayed amateurs for a while, they were able to jump into the pros and start fighting top guys sooner. You know what I mean? But the guy has 9 fights. What do you mean? What did Rigo do? Rigo has a win over a guy who was much bigger, Nonito Donaire, who hadn't lost in 11 years. You tell me someone like that Lomachenko fought. Because even if you use Gary Russell, which I think he looked splendid, he looked masterful. I thought Russell was going to beat Lomachenko. I'm very transparent and I keep it a buck with you. However, a lot of you motherfuckers was saying Gary Russell Jr. was a cherry picker and fights tomato cans. So how much credit can we give him? He later became a champion, right? When he fought Lomachenko, he wasn't a champion. You know what I mean? And that's probably his best win. He lost to Salido, Nicholas Walters. That was a good win, but Walters wasn't even active. You know what I'm saying? Donaire was active and knocking dudes out. And he was much bigger, much bigger. Lomachenko in some of these matches, he's about the same size, if not bigger than other opponents. So it's like these excuses are wearing thin. What did Rigo do to get to the fight? The other thing you can argue is, what did Miguel Mariaga, off of a loss in a lighter division where he was knocked down by Oscar Valdez, and a loss to Nicholas Walters where he was knocked down and lost to Walters convincingly, what did he do to get the fight? Do you get what I'm saying? The walls are closing in, man. Y'all got, tell the truth. Tell the truth. And the fans nowadays, they get vicious. I seen it happen to Canelo, Danny Garcia. There's no one above and beyond this. Fight Rigo, fight Rigo. So all these comments, people taking the time out of their day, it's 4th of July, and they're taking the time out of the day to say Rigondeaux, fight Rigondeaux, cherries. Someone tagged me. What would be a better 4th of July if you fought Rigo? And then someone tagged me. Wow. See, this is getting big. Fucking fight Rigo. You scared of Rigo, right? So those excuses, we got to get to the bottom of this. You know what I mean? Rigo. You can no longer say that no one wants to see the fight, because look at his comments. Just like Canelo's page looked like this with GGGs everywhere. You know what I mean? So you can't say the fight doesn't make sense, but Miguel Mariaga for loss in the lower division makes sense. No one wants to see Rigo. He's boring. But why is everyone saying fight Rigo in the comment section? Fight Rigo, right? You a cherry. Rigondeaux is the king. Viva Cuba. Team Rigo. So, like I said, I just want to see it. I'm a boxing fan. Let's get it. Look, cherries. This is several. You a coward. Fight Rigo. This is not me. This is what people are saying. So the excuses are running thin. You guys can, oh, you're racist. So everybody on here is racist, and you ain't gonna just blame it on me. And we all know what time it is. We know what that's about. You try to kill the messenger because you're upset. Rigondeaux's putting the heat to these boys. And me, I just want to see it. I don't really care who wins. If Rigondeaux wins, he wins. I just want to see it, and I want him to get the opportunity. That's it. And that's the thing. I never ducked or dodged, but this was the beginning of the end for Rigondeaux in terms of the unfair treatment. You beat Donaire, and they're like, "Oh, we're done with this dude. He's a spoiler." And it's sad. It's just like an actor when they get typecast. Like they take one role and then forever they're known as that. Like Screech, he's always gonna be the dork. You know what I mean? He couldn't get no roles in Hollywood as no like action star or something, like leading man in the Mission Impossible, because everyone knows you as the dork Screech from Saved by the Bell. If the teacher pops the test, no, I'm in a mess, and my dog ain't on my homework class. I just want to see it. And I think Rigondeaux, at his age, he should keep doing what he's doing, but keep putting the pressure on, and then eventually the truth always comes out. We're going to see. But I mean, he rebutted Bob Arum, who said he's full of shit. And like I said, the thing that makes me skeptical about what Arum is saying is, I know he's publicly, just Google it. Don't take my word for it. Get your fact checkers out, and you'll see he had a lot of bad things to say, even when he was managing Rigondeaux. And that's kind of weird for a promoter to be doing that. You know what I mean? So it makes you kind of believe what he's saying, what Rigondeaux is saying. You know what I mean? Roy Jones said it too. He said Lomachenko was at 126, Rigondeaux was at 122. Why we ain't never seen that fight? Why? I got the video. So all these excuses, the fight's boring, no one wants to see it. Roy Jones, he's a legend in the game. He's still an active fighter technically. He wants to see it. I want to see it. Every time I do a video about the subject, the viewership is pretty good, right? Rigondeaux's going hard, you know what I mean? And again, Lomachenko's fighting Mariaga on ESPN. Good thing it's free, but imagine if he was fighting Rigondeaux on ESPN. You know what I mean? And if it's easy work, go in there, knock Rigondeaux out, and keep it pushing. And then you just got all these new fans because you beat an Olympic gold medalist. But what people used to do in the past no longer works. Not with new media around. It's too deep for that. We're too dense as a boxing public, and fans are tired of that. You know what I mean? People just like the Mayweather Pacquiao. We already lived through that. We already sat through that. Waited 5 years, even though we didn't want to. You can blame this guy or that guy, but people are done with that. That's why Canelo Golovkin, people weren't willing to wait too long. They were just like, man, you got to fight this dude. Ain't nobody trying to wait 5-6 years. This is a social media age. All that other stuff is done. All the times where you could just say something in one interview and never get called out on it when you say something contrasting and hypocritical, that stuff is done. New media is here. And this is not about picking sides. A lot of you guys are so emotional. And it's funny because the people who call you out and try to say, oh, you're biased, you're picking sides, you're biased. It's everything. It's like when someone farts and you say, oh, who farted? You farted. You're the one that you smelled it, you dealt it, you did this. You know what I mean? But I've been in this game too long. I know what they try to do. And what they try to do is the person bringing up the topic, they try to blame me. Like I said, oh, Ego, you're racist. Okay. That's fine. I'm racist. Now explain every single person who is not one race leaving all these in his comment section. Oh, Ego, you're the only one who wants to see the fight. Okay, explain this. I'm telling you, tell the truth. Explain this if I'm the only one that wants to see it. And I don't see near a person talking about I'm juiced about the Miguel Mariaga fight. So you guys can say whatever you want. Lomachenko is a quality fighter. So is Rigondeaux. That is why I want to see it. That is Rigondeaux's response. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.